I remember the first time I met Paul, a recent college graduate, living in his parents' basement, tons of student loans, barely making any money. He was really depressed. But worst of all, he was working under a horrible boss. This horrible boss kept neglecting any ideas he had. He was a fresh young mind. He was ready to get out there and share his ideas. He realized that the only thing he could do was call blue collar for help. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was wearing my new suit and tie, laying by the pool on a Sunday, just trying to relax after a long week. All of a sudden, my phone goes off, and I hear Paul. He was hysterical, couldn't control himself, was crying over the phone. I had to calm him down. I told him I'd meet him first thing in the morning to solve his managerial problems. I remember when I first met Paul's boss, Mr. Heisenberg. He was an old man, very grumpy, stuck in his ways, didn't want to listen to the ideas of a young college grad. He'd been doing things his way for 20 and 30 years, and things had been perfectly fine running under his belt. We had to change his mind. Mr. Heisenberg was very defensive when we first confronted him. Detective Debo came on the scene and helped me out. He told Heisenberg that many managers ignore their employees. He wasn't the only one. But if you keep ignoring these great young men and women, they will all eventually leave your company and go to your competitors. You must listen to their ideas and keep them engaged in your company. I added that developing employees from a young age will help you in the long run. You will have a lower employee turnover ratio, and you will also develop them into young men and women who will be great employees that you can learn to trust. Mr. Heisenberg agreed that he had been neglecting his younger employees. His lame excuse was he didn't have time for them. After we talked, he realized he needed to work on his management skills, and not to take his smart young employees for granted. It would save him money in the long run. When Detective Debo and I were done, we met up with Detective Grace to grab some lunch. I distinctively remember Paul literally running down the street and yelling at us because he was so grateful for our help. We told Paul to speak up more often. Though it would take some time, he eventually would gain his boss's approval and acceptance.